Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stu here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. Not the typical video because as you can see I'm not in my usual location. I have the Douro River behind me and I'm in one of Spain's most prominent wine areas, the Ribera del Duero area in a small town called Balbuena de Duero. And I'm here for a day or two and I'm going to follow the Douro River down to the province of Zamora, so stay tuned for some more videos on the road. So, what is happening around the country at the moment? Well, it appears that the hot spell has come to an end. Very hot temperatures yesterday down there in Alicante, Valencia, I believe, some parts of Andalusia as well. And the heat wave is slowly moving across the country, and I think it's come to an end. I don't think the temperatures today are going to be as hot as they were yesterday or the day before. As I said yesterday, in Madrid it was very, very hot on Sunday, and yesterday the temperatures were a lot cooler. In this part of the world it's also quite cool at the moment. It's about 16, 17, maybe 18 degrees at the moment. Last night quite cool. I think the temperature got down to about 8 degrees, so the cooler weather was appreciated and it makes it a lot easier to sleep at night. One of the problems in a lot of parts of Spain when it comes to hot weather is the humidity. The Spanish call it bochorno, and it means very hot, humid conditions, and I think that's what the conditions were like down there on the Mediterranean coast yesterday. Some people in the comment section said that the conditions were very similar to a tumble dryer, and that is very, very uncomfortable indeed. So hopefully, as I said, those hot conditions have subsided for a couple of days, but apparently they're on their way back for the weekend. Now a quick update on the health situation. As we know, COVID cases are on the rise around the country. Various autonomous communities bringing in more restrictions, especially when it comes to nightlife. Valencia, as we know, has decided to shut down nightlife completely. You can't even buy alcohol in Valencia after 8 p.m. at supermarkets anymore. And yesterday the Valencian community announced that they're bringing back a curfew in 32 municipalities and also limits on how many people can gather in the same place at the same time. Valencia capital is one of the municipalities affected by these new measures, and as I said, another 31 municipalities in the Valencian community. I read this morning in the press that some restaurants in France are also now asking for a COVID certificate. We saw last week that that is also the case in Portugal in some parts of the country, and that's also the case if you want to go to hotels and other types of accommodation in Portugal, or you have to have some type of negative COVID test before you're allowed to enter. As far as I know, this type of rule is not in place here in Spain at the moment, but if France is starting to do it, if Portugal is starting to do it, I imagine it's only going to be a question of time before you have to show a COVID certificate or some type of negative COVID test before you enter a restaurant. Now, as we also know, there have been lots of changes to the government recently. Pedro Sánchez announced a cabinet reshuffle, and apparently yesterday a lot of the ministers that got the flick are not happy about that. Mr. Sánchez obviously feels that it's time for the government to have a fresh look, so he got rid of some of those old faces and brought in a lot of new people that I, for one, had never heard of before. As we know, it's been a difficult 18 months for the government here in Spain, not only for the COVID crisis, but also because of other problems that they have had. For example, Morocco. And the new foreign minister yesterday announced that his main priority is to fix the broken relationships with Morocco. He said that Morocco is a great friend of Spain, and his primary objective is to end the diplomatic crisis that peaked last May when some 10,000 people stormed the border down there in Ceuta, and as a result of that, relations between the two countries became very, very frosty indeed. So let's see if the new foreign minister is able to mend those broken bridges with Spain's biggest neighbour to the south. Spain's chief health official, Fernando Simón, has also spoken today. He's come out and said that we can't put all the blame on this new variant of COVID-19, the Delta variant, for the rise in infections here in Spain, and we have to put the blame on the fact that too many people are getting together, agglomerations as he likes to call it, and that is the reason for the spike in infections. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, the Valencian community has already put restrictions on how many people can gather in the same place at the same time. 10 people down there, and I imagine that different autonomous communities around the country are going to start doing something similar in the next couple of weeks. Because as we all know, the autonomous communities here in Spain are now responsible for trying to get the COVID-19 situation under control. The central government is again taking a step back, obviously because it's the summer, they don't want to work too hard over this summer period, and the autonomous communities, the 17 autonomous communities and the 2 autonomous cities are the ones in charge. On that note, I'll wrap the video up from this fantastic location on the Douro River in the province of Valladolid. questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.